Honkaistarrail has released the date and the two playable characters for the Fate collab, and this is the perfect opportunity to talk about a very important question, which is how to start watching Fate. Now, I've divided this video into two sections based on your interest and the amount of time you wish to spend learning about the Fate universe. This is considering the fact that I'm making this video because of the Starrail collab, so I will leave timestamps and you can decide based on that. Before I tell you the perfect order to start watching Fate, if you just want to watch the Fate Stay Night Unlimited Bladeworks anime, which is what the Starrail collab is with, you can absolutely do that. You really don't have to overthink this. This anime absolutely works as a standalone piece, and this will only require you to watch one anime with 24 episodes. If you're worried about missing out on something, or if you won't understand what's going on, trust me, this show loves explaining the world to the viewer. The characters are constantly talking and informing both the main character and the viewer about everything that happens. You can just watch this one anime and enjoy the collab. But if you want to learn more and use this as an opportunity to finally start watching the Fate series, then let's get into that. Now, the amount of adaptations the Fate series has is a lot. I'm talking about multiple anime, games, manga, spin-offs, novels, and the list keeps going on. But in the spirit of saving your time and my energy, I'm gonna stick to the Fate Stay Night series and the best way to get started on that. Fate Stay Night was first released as a visual novel in 2004 for Windows, which gave rise to a bunch of anime and manga adaptations. The premise of Fate Stay Night is a Holy Grail war which the protagonist Shiro Emiya finds himself fighting in. The masters, who are able to wield magic, summon servants to fight for them in this war. The servants are heroic spirits from history and mythology who are not only able to physically arrive in this world, but also able to use the legendary powers that they are known for. The Holy Grail is an all-powerful wish-granting device that every master and servant wishes to get their hands on. Each servant is classified based on its ability. If you notice the names of the playable characters in the Starrail collab, they're called Saber and Archer, which is how these characters are classified. That's not their name. That's the class that they belong to. Now that I've given you a general idea of the world of Fate, let me explain why there's so much discussion about the watch order and what I think is the best one. The Fate Stay Night visual novel has 3 different routes depending on the player's choices: Fate, Unlimited Bladeworks, and Heaven's Feel. Each route has the protagonist going through the story, but the characters and events change. Each route has a different heroine. Saber is the lead for the Fate route. Rin Tosaka is the lead for Unlimited Bladeworks, which is why a lot of people have been questioning why she isn't playable since the collaboration is with Unlimited Bladeworks. And Sakura is the lead for Heaven's Feel. Along with this, there is a prequel which is about the events that happened in the previous Holy Grail War, which is called Fate Zero. Fate Zero was originally a light novel written by a different author. Unlike the visual novel, this is a single story. If we talk about the order of things, then the visual novel is a great place to start. But if you're someone who's interested in the anime adaptations of Fate, then I can tell you a little bit about all the adaptations and the best way to get started on them. Fate Stay Night series was first adapted into an anime by Studio Dean in 2006 and a movie in 2010 by the same studio. Do not watch these. The anime is not the most faithful adaptation of the Fate route, and the movie, while faithful, is rushed and limited by the fact that it is a movie. In 2011, Ufotable adapted Fate Zero into an anime, which was then followed by an adaptation of Unlimited Bladeworks into an anime. And from 2017 to 2020, they adapted the Heaven's Feel route in 3 movies. The reason why there's so much discussion about which one to watch first is because the ending of Fate Zero is the beginning of Fate Stay Night. So both series spoil each other, and no one can really come to a great conclusion about which one to watch first. Not to mention, Fate Zero is literally a prequel. And ideally, prequels are meant to be watched after. So most people recommend watching Fate Zero after. But if you ask me, I think the best order is the order in which Ufotable released these anime. So watch Fate Zero first, then the Unlimited Bladeworks anime, and then the Heaven's Feel movies. If you're wondering why you can't interchange the routes of Fate Stay Night, each story focuses on a different set of characters and events. For example, going through the Unlimited Bladeworks story will give you additional context about characters that are not going to be focused in Heaven's Feel. Unfortunately, we do not have an adaptation for the Fate route by Ufotable, which is something I'm incredibly sad about because Saber is my favorite character. But with what we have, this is the best way to go about it. If you really want to watch Fate Zero after the Fate Stay Night adaptations, you can. but watching it before gives you more information about Saber, which isn't really explored in that much detail in the Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works or Heaven's Feel movies. It is also a very different story from Fate Stay Night, and it does introduce the Fate world in a great way. This is the order that I recommend, but you do not have to watch it in this way. I'm not claiming to be right, but based off of my experience, I think this is the best way to go about it. So yeah, watch Fate Zero, then Unlimited Blade Works, and then the Heaven's Feel movies. Now for the second part of this video. If you are someone who does not want to spend all this time watching these anime or reading anything about the Fate universe, and you just want some information about the two playable characters, so you have some sort of context when you play this collab, I got you. I can tell you some relevant information about these characters, and I think it'll be enough for you to enjoy this collab. Obviously, spoiler warning, I'm not going to go incredibly in depth about these characters, but still spoiler warning. If you're someone who does plan on watching everything and if you don't want to get spoiled, please skip to the last part of this video. The first featured character is Saber. In the animation teaser for the collab, we see Saber holding a golden sword and screaming Excalibur. Excalibur happens to be the mythical sword that King Arthur uses, which is said to possess magical powers. And the reason why Saber is using this sword is because that is her identity. She is King Arthur. But in the Arthurian legend, King Arthur is a man, right? In the Fate universe, King Arthur was actually a woman, pretending to be a man. Even the characters in the universe get surprised when they see her appearance, because they expect her to be a man. Saber is known as the King of Knights, extremely righteous to a fault, some might say. She's chivalrous and her ideals are very important to her. In the Holy Grail War, she's an incredibly strong servant. In the Fate universe, each character has a noble phantasm, which is their most powerful attack. We got to see Saber's noble phantasm in the trailer. When she's not using her noble phantasm, she conceals her sword to avoid revealing her identity to her enemies. Archer is the second playable character that we are going to get for free during this collab. I do not want to reveal Archer's identity because it is quite complicated to do so, but also because it was something that I did not expect when I first experienced this story. So I will tell you everything else that I can tell you. Unlike Saber, Archer is not a traditional heroic spirit that was summoned into the Holy Grail War. In order to become a heroic spirit, he makes a contract with an entity. This contract requires him to become a counter-guardian who saves people through his life and even after his death. He keeps his motivations to join this war a secret, which might have something to do with his identity. He's very cynical and seems to not care about most people, but you will find him doing the right thing. Archer's noble phantasm is a reality marble or a domain expansion which transports his opponent to a realm created by him, where he has access to unlimited weapons. That's all I can tell you about these characters without spoiling too much. I'm so excited about the Fate collab. I have not pulled on a single banner since the Fei Shao banner when they announced this. Literally, not even a single banner. It was so hard for me to skip Mighty, but I did it because I had to get as many pulls as I could. And at that time, I wasn't smart enough to know that they would give Archer for free. I thought, yeah, if there's gonna be a collab, I'll have to spend for all of these characters. So I was like, I have to save every single pull. The collab story seems to be happening in Penacony because in Saber's art, you can see Aventurine and Robin and like the buildings of Penacony. So I'm wondering how that's going to be. It seems interesting. I don't really know what they're going to do, but I'm excited regardless. I also love Saber. I know a lot of people are bummed about Rin not being playable. I also thought that Rin would be playable since it's Unlimited Blade Works, but I had a feeling that they couldn't do the Fate collab without Saber because she's cool, okay? As a Saber fan, I'm extremely happy about it. Also, since they mentioned that this was going to be on a separate banner, a lot of people on Twitter were saying that it's going to use separate pulls. And I got so scared because I've been converting all my Stellar Jade into the Starrail Special Pass. And I'm like, oh my god, what am I going to do? Because I have like 346 of those lying around and you're telling me that it's going to use another currency, and I got so scared. And then I went back and I checked it and it is the special pass. They are not using separate pulls. It is a separate banner. It's kind of like Genshin's Chronicle banner. To give you like an example, honestly, this collab is such a dream come true for me because Fate was one of the first anime I got into, and to see a game that I love so much collab with an anime that I'm so obsessed with is crazy. This collab is going to start on July 11th, so this is a great time to get into Fate. If you were planning before even, I think you will really appreciate the collab and these characters so much more if you watch it. So I genuinely think if you're thinking about watching it, just do it. It's gonna be worth it, trust me. I stream at twitch.tv/pixiebub if you want to talk about Fate or Starrail or this collab. Thank you for watching the video till the end, and let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.